Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch. Do you want to take a trip back to the future today? Because that's exactly what we're going to do while we talk about Unity. By the way, I already did a video about the new Unity CLI, the command line tools. Go check that out. They're awesome. But what we're talking about today is Unity 7, which has had a bit of an adventure. So Unity 7, I first talked to you guys about it in September of 2024. Right after their Unite developer conference, they announced something called Unity Next Generation. Now, this was basically Unity 7. And the entire idea behind this was Unity 6 was more or less going to be like in maintenance mode, and it was going to be Unity 7 was going to be the breaking changes version. And the heart of Unity 7 was going to be these features. The HDRP and the URP were going to be merged into a unified pipeline. CoreCLR was going to be fully supported. DOTS, or the data-oriented technology stack, was going to be built in and used by the editor. There's going to be a newer, faster, and less blocking content pipeline, a new animation system, and a new non-destructive procedural tools. The thing is, by the way, this didn't happen, and I don't think that did either. But what happened is we got a new CEO, and Unity 7 was announced DOA in December 2025. Unite 2025 in Barcelona, noticing a trend. A lot of these announcements are coming at Unite, spoiler alert. Well, they basically said that as it was announced on the roadmap was dead. Also, at the same time, they said the world building and animation tools were shelved. So the whole wait for Unity 7 thing ended. Instead, they moved the stuff into Unity 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, and so on. And then now today we have Unite Seoul. So we had Unity 7 announced at Unite 2024, canceled at 2025, and then re-announced at 2026. Spoiler alert. So yeah, these are the slide deck from Unite conference in Seoul. It happened, again, it's in Seoul, so it was like 11 o'clock last night it started, I believe. But let's go take a quick look at the Unity roadmap, and obviously we're going to be talking about Unity 7 specifically. So I'm going to go through this pretty quick, but what we really had here was, this was 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, and then 6.7 was the big version. This was going to be the version that had CoreCLR. That's the thing that most people are waiting for, and now we have the announcement of Unity 7. Now, I want to put things into perspective. Unity 7 is Unity 6.8. They just rebranded it. This is the point. Basically, a lot of things were going to happen in Unity 6.7. It looks like some of them have been pushed back a release. So this was when CoreCLR was supposed to become a thing fully. Now it looks like we're all going to be done with CoreCLR, and instead of calling it Unity 6.8, we've called it Unity 7. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Unity 7 was going to come eventually, but every time there's Unite, I think there's just needs something to hype, and so here we are. So what are the key features? Hey, a modern CoreCLR, a single renderer, open production pipeline, live code iteration, vector ads, in-app purchase, streamlined from Unity 6. Let's go back and compare. So the animation system and the terrain tools, world building tools were both shelved. Otherwise, well, it's looking a lot like the Unity 7 they announced back in the day. So just for perspective, anyways. So let's go ahead and check things out. So they got their product verification. They're talking about this. This is like they're working with teams on site. They also dogfooding with their own games. And then they're talking about the success of it. So less issues, less regression, and so on. And let's get into the production pipeline. So they're going to have a single API for access for review automation integrations, web dashboard with deep links for no editor needed, pluggable source control and compute, and CLI as a first-class automation entry point. The command line interface, again, I did a video on it. I highly recommend checking it out. It is part of Unity pipeline, and it enables you to do pretty much anything. You can remote control a running instance of Unity using the command line now. It is very powerful. You can actually install Unity entirely, load a project, create a project from a template, and then remote control it all from the command line. Obviously, this is going to be aimed at AI agents as well, but even if you do not use AI at all, still useful. Check that video out. It is the star of the show, in my humble opinion. So pipeline is definitely part of that process. So you can use it to automate workflows, flow control events, cron jobs, and so on. So phase 1, closed beta available now. You can actually go ahead and download the CLI at this point in time. The beta of the CLI is actually available. We're also going to have REST API stuff coming soon. And then in the future, we're going to have web scene previews, a REST API. And then in Q3, we'll have deep linking, the CLI's full release, and the pipeline package. By the way, this is not a Unity 7 thing. It works with Unity 6 up. So you can check this out today, and I highly recommend if you use Unity, you want to learn about the CLI and the Unity pipeline. It is going to change the way you work. Updates to the version control system, updates to build automation. Again, agentic workflow, this is going to tie into what we just talked about earlier. One of the big things here with AI is they were charging for their MCP. Now using the new pipeline, you're not going to have to pay for that. So I guess that is definitely an upgrade there. But let's get to the key part, the Unity editor. So you can see down here by the tags which particular versions are impacted. So some of these are going to be 6.6 would be the next release, coming every, I think it's 3 months, their schedule on this one. So in 6.6, we're getting efficiently handling millions of objects, visual indicators for game objects, and customizable columns. In 6.7, we're getting extensibility APIs, customized toolbars with any visual elements, surface menu item as a toolbar action, and editor tools API across all the editor windows. And then on the 2D side of things, in 6.6, we're getting rendering layer mask support, so control over which 2D lights affect specific layers, and a minimal performance overhead. 2D towards 6.7, we've got physics core 2D components, high-level components, and then maintained a familiar workflow with the new core physics 2D module. And then we also have expanded 2D profile suite, 2D Bright Skin, 2D Tile Map, 2D Graphics, and Profile Core 2D will all be added to the profiler. And then we're talking about Unity 7 features now. In 2D, we're going to get agents in 2D. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of AI when it comes to Unity 7. Just that's where they're going. Just don't judge me on it. High-level control surfaces for agents and agentic 2D content creation. This is Gen AI. There's no other way to put it. Just so you know. And then 2D in Unity 7, we're going to have control rigs for keyframing 2D characters. Think of like Spline, those basically bone-based animation tools for 2D, cutout animation, and then secondary motion powered by physics. Those are both two really cool developments, actually. And then 2D in Unity 7, we're going to get 2D physics integration. So Physics Core 2D deeply integrates into the 2D feature set. On the UI side of things, they're definitely going back. So one of the things when they announced Unity 7 the first time back in 2024, they basically said, oh, and UGUI is going away, and this is going away, and that is going away. Well, UGUI is key to a lot of people's development. So Unity are definitely putting development effort behind UGUI, including new safe area component, SRP compatible TMP shaders, zero allocation text updates, and enhanced layout options. We also have new text shaping right to left, enhanced layout capabilities, and richer visuals in animation systems. And you can see there's the roadmap of how long this is going to take. So some of this stuff is coming in 6.6, then 6.7, and then Unity 7 finally. And of course, UI toolkit, which is the future of UI, more involved, more tooling. It's getting updates as well in 6.7. We're getting in-scene authoring and animation, and then one-click visual effects, so drop shadows, new backdrop filter, advanced visual effects achievable with one easy step. And then we're getting in 6.7 again, more profiling tools around UI toolkit. And then the graph tools have gotten improvements across the board, including better debugging tools, a state machine API, which is something that people end up creating all the time. So that is nice to see. And then we get the core standards, which is a way of a more trusted package organization system. That is coming across from the judging of the slide 6.6, 6.7, and Unity 7. Cloud behaviors, so bridge gameplay code with cloud services, iterate in seconds, synchronized and secure game state, ready to use, serverless, cost-effective solution, local to online, quickly and easily. So you can do things, manage progression, inventory, rewards, rules, session state, and so on. This is if you're using Unity's cloud stuff, obviously. Netcode, nothing new here. Netcode package, so game object workflow, netcode for entities is coming in, performance improvements, and so on. And then this is the one that people are most interested in, which is the CoreCLR. This is basically moving .NET into the modern era, as opposed to a 7-year-old version of Mono. So this has been pushed out a little bit, but Unity 7 is going to be the end of the road when you can think of CoreCLR as finally being done. So in 6.6, we're getting hierarchical support for entities, multi-threaded allocator, modern logging, and dictionary serialization. And then 6.7, you're getting serialization, modernization, and the jobs profiler. Lots of profiling stuff in 6.7, you'll notice. And then in 7, entity systems data on game objects, entity drive game objects, entity data serialized in game objects, scenes, and prefabs. That's one of those things that definitely changed since Unite 2024. They made it so that it's more of a smooth transition. So game objects aren't going away. You can work with your familiar workflow. Unity 7 is going to feel just like, I don't know, Unity 6.8, which it kind of is. So 6.6, we're going to see enter play mode by default for using CoreCLR. 6.7, CoreCLR desktop player and the IL2 CPP players. And then in Unity 7, and I think this used to be part of 6.7, so this has been moved to 7. It's CoreCLR and being used for the editor, and then CoreCLR desktop player release, and then IL2 CPP is going to be on .NET 10. So this is when we get all of the performance gains from switching over to CoreCLR. And then in Unity 7, so CoreCLR will be used for the editor. The editor will actually be making use of CoreCLR, which means less time waiting for incremental changes, no mono at all, .NET 10, C# 14, MS Build, CS Project compilation, CoreCLR desktop player, and IL2 CPP player on .NET 10. This is definitely the thing people are waiting for. It'll be interesting to see just how much of a performance improvement we actually get from CoreCLR powering the editor, but should be nice. And then here we got part of that improvements to the build system and the content system behind the scenes. So this is the way that content is stored by Unity. So you can have smaller, faster incremental builds, which is something people are screaming for. Lower memory usage, asynchronous multi-threaded loading, powered by high granularity content processing, and opt-in for existing addressable users. No code changes required. That is in 6.6, so that'll be almost right away. So we're going to see 6.6, local content director, unified build analysis UI, easy opt-in with the addressables. 6.7, cold build time improvements, asset dependency analysis, and reliable build failures. And then in Unity 7, remote content directories, download only what is needed, and smaller content updates. And then on the graphics side of things, this is, okay, I find this slide slightly misleading. So Burp, the built-in render pipeline, as of Unity 6.5, is now deprecated. So they are adding no more features to it, might be bug fixes, that's about the extent of it. So built-in render pipeline is basically dead. The universal render pipeline is the focus and recommended for all new projects. And then here's where it's a little misleading. So HD render pipeline is feature-rich and supported. It's basically as deprecated as the built-in render pipeline is, just so you know. So you can still use it, but they're not going to be adding new features and such to it. Those are all going into the universal render pipeline. I think this is a good thing, by the way. I think having one pipeline, the scriptable render pipelines was a nice idea, but splitting everything, having double the tooling and all that stuff, and then the fragmentation it caused on the asset store, not good. So standardizing on the universal render pipeline, this is good. And what they're going to do basically is take all the features from here and then move it into here, and take all the performance requirements from here and then move it in there. At least that's the idea. So we got ERP, kind of some of the details of it. One of the things we're getting in Unity 6.7 is a new global illumination system called Surface Cache Global Illumination. So this iterates fast with dynamic indirect diffuse global illumination, no baking or UV authoring. You can think of this kind of like a Lumen solution. Indirect lighting for dynamic environments, supports dynamic geometry and meshes, scales to mobile, focus on the widest platform reach possible. And then we've got there, you can see off and then on, which is funny because it looks like they just cranked up the saturation in an image, but it's hard to tell in like a static image what it's actually doing here. We've also got screen space reflections coming in 6.7. We have ground truth ambient occlusion coming in 6.7 as well. And then in Unity 7, we're going to get actual physical light units. So if you want to work with real world units, you can do so going forward. So set light intensity in real world photometric units and dynamically adjust scene exposure to on-screen brightness. We're also in Unity 7 getting physically based sky atmospherics and volumetric fog. And then we're going to have a number of different upscalers. This is 6.7. They have their own built-in spatial temporal post-processing. That's been available for a little bit now, I think. 6, maybe 6.5. But we also have NVIDIA support, FSR, and then PlayStation's upscaling solution as well. On the shader side of things, we have shader compilation improvements between 6.6 and 6.7. Precast shaders for smoother and hitchless rendering, accelerated shader build times with a new faster build mode, and transition to the DXC shader compiler starting with DirectX 12, followed by other platforms. And then we have in 6.6 shader and PSO pre-caching, so improved shader and PSO coverage with gradients. Graphic state collection and codeless tracing warm-up using editor graphic settings, and precast shaders with advanced shader delivery for DirectX 12. And then on 6.6, modernized DirectX 12 shader compiler. We're going to have better shader improved build times here between 6.6 and 6.7. And then ML graphics. So this is machine learning graphics, neural rendering framework, and neural texture compression. You can see neural texture compression effect right there, split between the two. So it compresses a PBR material stack into a latent feature matrix, smaller network decompression latent features at runtime, and saves significant graphics memory, around 40% in their tests so far. So a new texture compression system coming in 6.7, and then rendering. Seem to be missing a bit of a slide here. Train upcoming ML-based graphics features with real-time data, with real data from Unity's renderer, neural network interface in the universal render pipeline, and a demo is coming soon. Then we get into deploy. This is the various different platform things here. Not a ton there going on, but basically improvements across the board. 6.6, we're getting WASM 64, and the amount of memory is being improved from 4 gigs to 16 gigs. Web GPU reaches production readiness in 6.6, and then progressive asset loading is coming in 6.7. XR 6.6, improved migration from controllers to XR hands, and 6.7 platform toolkit for Quest 3, and so on. And they're also supporting Xreal's device. I love these things from Xreal. I've owned like 3 of them at this point in time. Highly recommend if you have not checked out XR goggles. These glasses are awesome. They're just basically giant big screen TVs with spatial tracking, but that is pretty cool. And then on top of that, grow your game, convert more. So the grow side of things, I'm going to flip over it pretty quick, but some improvements there. And then same with the dashboard, the analytics side of things, all up there as well. And then we're pretty much kind of getting to the end of what is new here. Again, my focus is definitely on the Unity 7 side of the equation. And yeah, Unity 7 is back, but now it's basically Unity 6.8. And the big thing here is it is finally when CoreCLR becomes a thing. And at that point in time, you can think of Unity 7, the universal render pipeline is king, and CoreCLR is here. But I think the big thing from Unite Seoul is definitely the command line tools. Go check out that video. Highly recommend it. And that's it. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.